I do have to shout out, of course, though, for your fantasy playoffs, you got to go check. Are the Kansas City Chiefs available? They played the Bengals this last week, so they probably dropped in a lot of leagues. They're still 67% roster because the secret's kind of been out on these guys. Their schedule could not be any better for your fantasy playoffs. They've won, just as a streamer, this next week for your Chiefs. They do get the Broncos, which you don't need me to spell out how tasty the Broncos are, the worst offense in the entire league right now, coming this week. Then week 15, again, the Texans. As we have to say it, the Texans are the most amazing matchup for your defenses. Then week 16, Seattle, a mediocre matchup, and that's why. Have the Chiefs, have the Titans on your bench, so you can go to the Titans in week 16, and then another matchup, this time at home in your fantasy championship against the Denver Broncos. What could be better than that, folks? That is exactly what your fantasy dreams are made of. So I'm trying. I have the Chiefs in a lot. I picked them up in like week 12 just a few weeks ago, and I've stashed them ever since. They're my go-to. I'm going to be riding them, but I'm also trying to pick up the Titans wherever I can to pair with them and just have a beautiful schedule the rest of the year. That is a great option if you need a defense. If somehow they're out there, go snag them. Now, let's just talk about like week 15. You're looking ahead. You know you're going to get in. You know you're not going to have the bye, though. You're going to have somebody ready for week 15. Here's a couple teams that I like. You obviously want, well, let me just emphasize one quick thing too. Who does Houston have for the fantasy playoffs? So week 15 is Kansas City. Again, I already talked about them. Week 16, Tennessee, I already talked about them. And then week 17. So let's say you have the Tennessee Titans. Go pick up the Jags too. Yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars week 17 against the Texans. They're all out there. So Titans and Jags largely available. And again, if you know you have that bye, what better than just starting whoever's facing the Texans rather? Great spot for your defense. But then if you're missing out on them, let's just talk about the other offense that you always want to start a team against. That's the Denver Broncos, the worst scoring offense that we've ever seen. It's abysmal. Again, we mentioned Arizona coming up in week 15, a good play against the Pats this week. Then you got Denver the next week. So that's, again, why I love Arizona if you know you have to play these next couple of weeks. Then you got the Rams in week 16, largely dropped unit, but could put up some great fantasy points at home against this Denver offense. And then you got week 17, Kansas City Chiefs, as mentioned again. That's why we love them so much. Those are two offenses you just want to play against. But let's say none of them are out there. Who do you need for a couple more matchups? Green Bay Packers, over half of leagues, they're out there. Terrible matchups in week 15 and 16. Week 16, 17, rather. Miami and Minnesota. You don't want to play them there, but they do get the Rams on week 15 on Monday Night Football. What better way to send your opponent home than a 20-point defensive effort? Green Bay, they're horrendous against the run, 30th, but they are great against the pass, and they can definitely get after the passer. So as long as they put up points and they force the right script, Green Bay, a great week 15 play, as is the Steelers, who will go to Carolina. Yes, they've been better. They've given up 6.5 points to defenses over their last 4, which is like, okay. They're better with Sam Darnold, but they're still not good. I really like, though, the Minnesota Vikings. They're in a great spot facing Indianapolis, who is second in the league in total turnovers, fumbles, picks, you name it. We just saw Dallas put up, 25 fantasy points against them. Better defense than the Vikings, but this team has been okay. 4th with interceptions, 12 total. 4th in total takeaways with 19. And we know the Colts, actually not the second most, the most giveaways, 26 total in the NFL. So an opportunistic defense, the Vikings in week 15 would get the Colts. In fact, the Colts, I know I gave you the Broncos. I know I gave you the Texans. Obviously, again, the Texans, Titans, and Kansas City, Titans, and Jaguars. Want to keep emphasizing them. But the Colts get Minnesota Vikings, Chargers, and Giants. So all those teams very viable as well. And all decent enough defenses to put up some points against them. So I like that matchup quite a bit as well for the Vikings. And then against the Giants in the next week. So I really like the Vikings in general. And then the Packers. Like, they might be going to Jordan Love, who did look good, but Vikings in general, like, if you just need a set and forget, they're about as good as it gets at over 50, under 50% owned right now. And then the other only options, let's say you have the bye week, who you could look for. Chargers have a nice, soft schedule with the Colts and the Rams in their last 2 weeks. They're going to be fighting for their playoff lives. These Chargers are. They haven't been a good defense. In fact, the one time I started them, they got me -5 points. So that's why they're a little bit lower on this. But with these type of cupcakes, they have the Colts, most giveaways in the league, 26. The Rams, we spelled out how bad they already are right now. If the Chargers have anything, it's Bosa. They can generate pressure. So I think that is a good spot as well. And you got tough matchups for like Dallas, New England, some of your defenses you may have been riding for a while. So this could be a solid option for them. And last but probably least, though, the Dolphins. Tough matchups these next couple weeks, but then Green Bay and New England, the last 2 weeks of the season, got not the most ideal spot. I'd much rather go with a Titans and Jaguars rotation, week 16, 17, than go to the Dolphins. But if you prefer setting and forgetting, the Vikings are gone, the Chargers are gone. Those are some options as well. And of course, Chiefs, Titans, my favorite stack of all. Arizona, if you're in win now mode these next 2 weeks, great spot. Just to summarize a few of my defensive thoughts. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.